So I just wanted to start it off by letting y'all know what this is. This is going to be the college collaborations with the Honors College. So one thing we wanted to do is make sure that the other colleges know that we share you. You're not an honor student or a College of Education student or a College of Science and Math student. You're both. So we share y'all. And so we thought it would be important to try and highlight that. So we have some fantastic alums who volunteered to come back and talk with y'all. I wanted to thank Dean Falkenberry for being here, of course, and Allie. Y'all know her as your Honors College advisor, but in this role, she is working on her master's program, and I believe they call her an intern. She's my intern, and I'm in charge of her. And she has taken on a bulk of the work to host these events and send all the reminders and the advertisements out to y'all. So clearly, it's working great. So sorry. So what will happen is our alumni will present, and I gave them no structure whatsoever. So if you can imagine being given an assignment with no directions, rubric, or anything, that's what I have done to them. But I think that's what's most valuable is I didn't tell them, come in and talk to my students about this. They're coming in genuinely talking about what they think is important that you should know. And then afterwards, we'll have punch, water, and cookies in the lobby. We have 3 other colleges left to do. They are well advertised and they will be well advertised. Structure will be similar, so just make sure you keep your eye out for that. College of Agriculture and College of Education are the 2 next ones. I believe College of Education's first. So I'm going to go ahead and turn it over. If whenever y'all are ready, just introduce yourselves and then we'll do questions at the end.
Hi everyone, my name is Nickles. I'm currently an academic advisor at TD. I work at the College of Engineering and Computer Science. Introduce her. I made a little presentation. It's something special, just about finding sense of belonging. I call it that one thing. Something that I like to tell my students a lot when they're having trouble, like making friends, kind of feeling that sense of belonging on campus, is just trying everything until you find that one thing that sticks. So that's kind of what happened for me. So here's my first slide. The first year in college, I came from private school from middle to high school. It's like my first public school experience. Kind of knew everyone from like grade 3 to grade 12. So I only came in with 2 friends from my high school. I had trouble finding that sense of belonging. I didn't really know what I wanted out of college. I didn't know how to get it. I actually really wanted to leave. I wanted to go to A&M because I started out animal science pre-vet. And I was like, oh, A&M's the pre-vet school. I want to go there. And then there's actually a funny story. My one thing was actually Urbino. I'm sure y'all have heard all about Urbino. But my parents were visiting one weekend and we walked by the Honors College office and there was a flyer that said that the price had just been reduced. And my parents, without me knowing, turned around and walked into Dr. Clifford's office to ask him about how to apply for it and like information. Kind of didn't force me to apply, but like heavily encouraged me. I didn't really want to, but I'm really glad I did because I ended up going. And I like to say I became that study abroad changed my life person that y'all probably know. It really did though. It's a super great opportunity. I met lifelong friends there. I gained a lot of self-confidence. That was my one thing. I met people who were in biomedical sciences. When I got back, I said I want to change my major to biomedical sciences pre-med. I met people who worked in residence life, which inspired me to go apply as an office assistant in the honors hall. Kind of got my start in res life, higher ed stuff. Yeah, it's just a super great opportunity. So if you haven't applied yet, or if you're thinking about it, I definitely recommend. And then kind of like a pivot point. When I got back, like I said, I had that new self-confidence. I knew about more things on campus, definitely had that sense of belonging that I was looking for. Decided to change my major. I got involved with working in honors, volunteering with an ambassador in the mentor program. Just really had a great time. It was super life-changing. It was really, really awesome. Got involved in a bunch of organizations on campus like Alpha, Epsilon, Delta, Phi Beta Sigma, like I said, mentor and ambassador, stuff like that. Then discovering passion. As I was working as office assistant, I worked with a great staff of the RLs and the residence hall director, which inspired me the next year to apply to be an RL. Unfortunately, that was the in-between of when the pandemic started, so it was kind of difficult time. Things looked really different.
So sorry.
There you go.
Oh my goodness, sorry, they were telling me the audio wasn't ready. I'm so sorry.
Oh, you're fine. I talk kind of fast, maybe that's fine. And this was kind of like my first big step into higher education, kind of as like a future for me. I really discovered a passion for student success and student development. And it was the first time my hall director, Brianna Karsek, someone really saw something in me and shared that with me, that I had like that innate talent and those innate passions that I didn't see in myself. And that all spawned from me doing that one thing. Call this the dark ages. It wasn't really that dramatic. I'm just like to be funny. I graduated in 2021 with my BS in biomedical sciences. I thought I was going to go to med school. I thought I had it all. And then last semester, just kind of feeling a little bit of burnout, feeling a little bit of not really sure what I want to do. So then I decided I wanted to pursue higher education. I applied to be a residence hall director here. That didn't really work out. So I kind of lost for a little bit, like about 4 months. And I was like, oh, well, I can use my degree. I can be like a lab assistant, like do biological research, because that was fun in undergrad. So I worked at UT Southwestern for about a year as a lab tech assistant. And I knew 2 months in that I didn't really like it. It wasn't really for me. I really missed out like student success and working with students on the higher education aspect. I was really missing that. And I was at UT Southwestern for about a year. 10 of those 12 months, I was looking for other jobs. So it's definitely a slow process. So if you're applying for like internships, jobs, I definitely understand it's a struggle. But then my Renaissance era, I like to call it. I got an offer for UTD May of 2023. I don't recommend this, but I did quit my job before I got the offer because I was pretty sure. Again, don't recommend it. Just I needed to get out. And yeah, I've been an advisor for about 9 months. I've loved every single day. It really drives home that point that I'm sure you all have heard, that if you love what you do, you never work a day in your life. It's really where I'm meant to be. I get to professionally develop in the way that I want. I get to work with students, kind of foster that development and give people my story to kind of help them find that sense of belonging and kind of help them find their why and their passions. Yeah, that's me.
Did you say your major at the beginning?
I was biomedical science. Well, I was animal science pre-vet, then biomedical science pre-vet. Are y'all all biomedical, biology?
Yeah.
Oh. Chemistry, college science stuff. Okay.
All right, well,
Thank you.
perfect.
Do we want to check the audio before we switch? to
It's good.
It's working now. Okay.
It was working the whole time, I just panicked. All right.
I just studied in years. My name's Ailia Oliver. I graduated in 2012, little older, but I was originally molecular biology and then switched to biology. There were a lot of changes that had happened during that time. I actually graduated with an 18-month-old daughter, so life kind of changed in there. So I switched degrees, ended up, I thought I was going to go into research, thought I was going to, move on and get my master's and get my doctorate right as I was leaving school. I said, obviously things kind of changed, but it changed for the better. I was able to find the things that I enjoyed, like my one thing, like I was able to latch onto that. But one thing that, you brought up, that, like, what did I wish I had heard? My one thing is burnout. And I know y'all all feel that because I was there too. I was taking 18, 19 hours with the labs, with everything going on. And it's hard. And, when you graduate, things change and you're like, okay, I'm good. I got this. I'm going to get a job. I'm going to do all the things. I'm going to, take on all the projects, learn all the things. It is okay to say no, to stop yourself from the burnout. And that is my thing, is the power of saying no. No is always given that context of, oh, it's such a bad thing, it's such a negative thing. Like, why would you say no? But no is actually good. You are actually able to grow and do more and be more by steering yourself where you need to go, instead of, okay, I'm just going to say yes to every opportunity that comes along. Like, you don't have to say yes to every job. You don't have to say yes to every opportunity just because somebody says, oh, I think this would be great for you. Like, build yourself. It is okay to say no. You can develop and be more. Even just when, whenever I first got out of school, I started working at a hospital, and 9 months in, I got laid off. And it's hard, especially when you are a single mom and you have a kid and you don't know what to do, and I have to change. But I was actually able to find an opportunity. I was hired within a month of that, because in that case, I said no to being depressed and, beating myself up and like, what could I have done? I said no to sitting there and wallowing in it. So like within a week, I had put in 17 applications and already I had an interview, got the job offer, started within a month. Started working in a microbiology lab. Doing the pharmaceutical lab. So it's not the R&D side, it's making sure the products we make are good before they go out the door. Making sure the environments that we make those products are good before they go out the door. Took on as much as I could because I was always told, you must do more, you must be more. Do, say yes, have to do everything. And I burned myself out. And I hit rock bottom. And I was like, I can't do science anymore. I can't, I have to leave science. So started applying both outside because I was like, I don't even want to work here anymore. That's how burnt out I was. Thankfully, I was able to make some connections within some senior leadership within our plant, and they pointed me in the direction of investigations, which being science, being analytical, works really good when you're trying to figure out why something went wrong. And it's anything from people not documenting something to like equipment breaking. Like I was actually dealing with a situation last night where we have a leak on equipment. I have to make sure that everything's good before we, is the product still okay? Can we send it out the door? So, big decisions there. But again, it was, okay, got to take on more, got to do more. Anybody that, because our team for investigations was built to take investigations from the supervisors. So the supervisors can know before. They can be doing the things to prevent the stuff that's happening. The hard part was though, is, hey, I need you to do this. Hey, I need you to do this. Oh, you'd be great. You know what to do. Can't you just take this? I'm like, sure. Don't mind that I, at that point, am now married with 2 kids, 2 small children. And I keep telling, like, sure, that's fine. I'll take it. Whatever you need me to do. Burnout even worse than I ever had been before. Again, I'm gonna leave the company. I can't handle this. I'm done. But I had to learn, like, I could say. And it kind of hurt some feelings, and that was a whole adjustment, whenever I started telling people no, because they're like, well, you always used to. Why aren't you doing it? You're like, but I need to do this for myself. I had to take the time. And actually, when I was leaving investigations, my husband was starting flight school. And so he moved to Alabama, and I now have 2 kids at home that are in activities, doing things, all kinds of like school and sports and everything going on. And it really made me refocus and say, no, I'm going to have to say no. I can't be at every school event. I can't be, we can't do all of the sports. We can't do all these things. I have to refocus so that I could be who I needed to be in the moment. And I've actually just recently switched roles again, and I was telling everybody, like, I'm preaching to the choir because I'm having to relearn what saying no looks like. Because again, it's that, well, you're just so good at this. Can't you just, why won't you do this? Like, no, that's not my job anymore. But I've learned ways in which I can say no. Because being a people pleaser, it's hard. So I have to find ways that I can say no without feeling like I'm letting somebody down. Because, when you're growing up, it's like, oh, I have to do more, I have to be more, I have to, But it's, instead of saying no, I'm like, how about I send you an example? How about I can walk you through that example, but I can't do it for you. How about we give somebody else, like this person, they're really looking for new opportunities. I think they would be great, and this would be a great learning opportunity for them. Like re-steering, but still say no. Like I'm able to take on more, and I actually just started grad school May of last year. So, I'm having to say more or say no more because I need that time to do my own schoolwork. I need that time to be home with my kids, be home with my husband, do the things that we would like to do. So I'm having to say no, but let's do it this way. So still helping the company and still helping everybody, but a new way of saying no without saying no. So.
Hello, I am Shayla Hoffman. I graduated with my bachelor's in math in 2012, turned around, did my master's in a year because I had grant funding. Don't recommend doing a master's in a year, not for the faint of heart. Then I taught public school for 5 years. I taught algebra 2 and up at a high school. And I thought that was my love and that was my happy place and that's where I would be. Then my thing is to find your people that help you see opportunities. So I have a similar experience as Grant. Went on a study abroad trip that like solidified that person for me. And so I did a history of math class in Greece for 3 weeks and absolutely fell in love, cried when I had to come home because it was that wonderful a trip. So again, if you have the study abroad capability, go forth and do, because 2 out of the 3 have said like that is a thing that can be life-changing in your college experience. So the faculty member that was on that trip became like one of my biggest mentors as we went through. So Dr. Pam Littleton, she was one of my people. And so I was teaching math in high school. There was a teacher quality grant that Dr. Falkenberry was running in the math department, and Dr. Littleton said, "Hey, will you come help, miss?" Like, sure, yeah, that's fine. Well, then keep plugging along, a new program came available and an opportunity was able to step out of the K-12 life and into higher ed. Didn't see myself like going that path. Talked to Dr. Littleton about it and she's like, you might want to look into it a little bit more. And so you need to find the person that helps push you out of your safety zone, because once you get out into the world, you will find a niche and you're like, I'm good here. This is going great. You need it's like a safety net of a person that sees the good in you and helps push you. Like family is always, most of the time, that person. You need someone outside the family net that is also a like, let's go down this path. So I am now the program coordinator for Tarleton Today. So it is a 1-year-old program now, watch out. And so Tarleton Today is a dual enrollment program for high school and college students. It's like dual credit-ish. But high school students get the opportunity to accept or decline their credit at the end of the school year. So they can go through, so right now we have 4 course offerings. We're about to be up to 14 this next school year. And so instead of college algebra being a 1 semester class that you go through, it's lines up with algebra 2, you get to take it as a whole year class. Well, say you end up with a B on the college side. And if you're in this room, you are probably the type of person I am that a B would not have been okay as a high school student. And you can say no thank you to that grade and keep moving. And you have no transcript to follow you at all. And so it's a great, I found a place that was a great opportunity to help students learn how to be college students while still having the training wheels of high school. And I feel like I'm in a place right now that I have like a foot in both sides of the pond. Still getting to work with the high school teachers, getting to work in higher ed too, because I think it's powerful for people to be able to have that program to keep chasing your dreams. So, and don't feel bad about changing your major. That'll happen. I did 6 times, so we're fine. Still graduated in 4 years. We're good. So find your person that you can be, and it's not a person you talk to all the time. I think I would talk to Dr. Littleton like once every 4 to 6 months. It would just be hey, let's have a 2-hour phone call because we catch up and then go our separate ways and come back together. And she passed away a couple years ago, and it is a hole that is left with you when you have that person. So that's, as you move through your college experience, if there is a faculty member that you're like, man, I feel a connection with you, go to office hours, get to know that person, because they can be a person that, hey, you can use as a reference, as a drop of a hat, that hey, I found this job opportunity, would you be a reference? And they can turn around and have something for you instead of having to wait the 5 to 10 business weeks, it seems sometimes, to get a reference. So be looking for your person as you go through college. Don't be afraid to stay in contact with that person and have an extra sounding board to help you find the opportunities to take, because definitely would not be here without that. So, because I think she encouraged my dad to make me apply for the honors college, because I wasn't going to do that either. So, there's always a person working in the background, so find your person and become close.
Does anyone have any questions for an individual alumni or just as a group?
Maybe it's still one of the questions we asked at the last one. I want each of you to answer it. What was your favorite class you took at Tarleton that was outside of your major?
Bonus points for honors.
I honestly think mine was, so I think my favorite class I took was my juniors honor seminar, because we did a history of the American West course, was that junior year course. And I loved it. It was a look through literature, art. It was this woven course about humanities that was really, really cool. And I loved learning all the stories of the history of the West.
I have two kind of answers. My honors history 2 course, history 1302, it was honestly one of the best courses I've taken here. The faculty member that I had, he was amazing. I really made the class engaging and not a boring history class. And then I don't know if it's changed since we've been here, but technical writing, is that still a requirement? That one?
It's now professional writing.
Yeah,
Oh.
some degrees required, but not all.
That class for me was honestly really fun, because I don't know about y'all, but as a college science major, I didn't really have a lot of opportunities to not creative writing, but not lab report writing. And I really found a love for writing and doing that sort of thing. So that was pretty fun for me too.
I would say it was an honors class, but it was intro to psychology with Dr. Newman. He made that class so much more fun, especially for those of us that are just one of those intro courses that we have to take, and we have to take it as honors because of the PHP. But then you leave a class and you're like, that was a lot of fun. He made it interesting for those of us that didn't feel like we were gonna care about it.
I had a question. So what I always find fascinating about figuring out where our alumni are is to figure out, did you end up in a career that was perfectly aligned with your major and your path? I know I did not. It seems like maybe y'all were deviating, but it's where you want to be. And I just wanted to know how you feel about that. How do you feel about the fact that you didn't, it may not line up perfectly? You're not a math teacher.
More circuitous, I think, is
Right.
what she's trying to
Yes,
say.
yes. Your thoughts on
I can go first. So like I said, I thought I was gonna go into research and I wanted to help patients. A couple of people in my family had medical conditions that were pretty rare. So I was like, I'm gonna go into research, I'm gonna solve that, I'm gonna fix it. Done volunteering work in a hospital, lots helping patients. I also found out patient contact was not for me. I get emotionally connected. Hospital is not the place for me. But starting to work at a pharmaceutical company, like some of the stuff that we make is for glaucoma, it's for different eye conditions like macular degeneration. Like we still do things to help patients. No, did I ever think I was gonna go into investigations? Because I absolutely hated writing papers in college. No, didn't think I would ever be there. I love writing now. Because I'm still like, I get to figure out the problems, like I get to solve things in order to make sure I'm still helping somebody. And then I switched over to what I do now is process engineering. So I'm trying to implement things well to fix situations before it becomes a deviation. So helping our patients, getting product out the door. So, but yeah, no, I did not think I would be where I am now.
Yes, I also didn't think I'd be where I am now. Like, if you'd asked me, like, when I changed my major, I would have told you I would have been in med school. I would have been a doctor by now. But then, yeah, just doing like one thing, like just getting like a feel for higher ed, like working with students. I don't really regret not working in like biology research because I did and I didn't really like it. So I think that was like a good opportunity for me to kind of see what something I heard recently was sometimes like doing a job or internship is like about finding what you don't like, rather than just like pigeonholing yourself and finding what you do want to do the rest of your life. It was a good learning opportunity. And I still appreciate like all the skills that I learned in like my undergrad and my biology.
I think going into the workplace, you're building your tool belt for the next thing. So you're gathering skills, you're gathering people and contacts, you're building your tool belt, like just as you're working through your degree right now, like you're building your tool belt. And so you always learn things. There's never not learning. It's even like if you learn what you don't like, it's like, oh, I like this path. How can I go down this path? And so it's you always be willing and able to learn.
Questions, y'all?
What's next?
What's next?
Are you gonna go on to get a higher degree or any other career you wanted to explore?
Great question. For me, right now, it's like we have this brand new baby program that is all consuming. And so my hope is to get these new courses launched in the fall and then we'll see, because to me, so how I ended up presidential honors and a master's degree is like, I'm really good at going to school if somebody else is paying for it. Like that is the way to go. And so find those opportunities in it. Like if somebody else will pay for you to go to school, if you're sitting in this room, you're a good student. So use it and say, sure, thank you, and keep moving down the path.
Me, I'm pretty content right now. I'm actually about to finish my first master's in higher ed administration. The first week of May is when I graduate. So I'm gonna take a little break and see, kind of reevaluate, see where I'm at, and then go from there. But again, I love going to school. I love academic achievement. It's very fulfilling for me. So
I would like to point out on this grant, did you notice he got his undergrad in biology and he's doing his master's in education? So you don't have to do your higher degree in the same thing you do your undergrad. You might have to take some leveling courses or do, a little something, but you can, even if because if you decide you want to change and you're late in the game, it's not too late. You can still complete your degree and then go into something different if you choose to.
and I'm performing a lot better in grad school than in undergrad. So
Yeah. Sorry. I graduated with biology and I started my master's with quality and engineering management. So with the engineering department here, actually it's completely online, which is a whole different switch. I see myself progressing in management, whether it's in the good thing is that degree can go across multiple different industries. It can be pharmaceuticals, it can be manufacturing. Like I'm not pigeonholed with that one degree. So, but yeah, I switched a number of times. It's about every 5.25 years. I decide I'm gonna do something else. So the good thing is like with our plant in Waco, we have so many different opportunities and we like all the way from compounding the product to packaging and shipping out the door. So there's so many different opportunities that, you know, about every 5 years, I'm like, okay, what's the next thing? Yeah, I'll do that. I'm like, okay, I'm in here, let me get my feet under me. But what's next? Always have.
I was gonna ask, did you ever apply to med school or take the MCAT, or did you change your mind?
No, I knew like pretty early in my last semester that it really wasn't for me. That was just my path though. I kind of like found what I wanted to do, so I didn't really see like a benefit doing that. But I definitely recommend if you want to do that, definitely go for it. It just wasn't like what, at that point in my life, it wasn't what I was prioritizing. I didn't think I could do it, so.
So a question for all of y'all, what spurred on y'all's decision to go on to grad school and get a master's degree? And do y'all plan to finish out with the doctorate degree?
I do not plan on finishing out with a doctorate degree. Not that it's a bad thing, it's just, in the field I'm in, I don't see the benefit with a doctor's degree. As it is, there's only a handful of the higher management even has a master's. So, but having come from a biology background and worked in labs and at the hospital and everything, like switching over to engineering, I have no idea what I do. Absolutely no idea. Like every day I walk in and I'm like, okay, somebody tell me, how do I do this next thing? So to me, going back and getting my degree is only gonna help me in the role in higher roles. I did not know when I graduated. Like I was like, okay, I want to do more school, but I didn't know what I wanted to do it in. So it took me a bit to like figure out what I wanted to be when I grew up.
I kind of chose to go into a graduate degree because I was trying to like supplement my application to like go into higher ed. So I was having trouble like finding jobs, getting interviews, stuff like that. I was like, oh, maybe like if I show that I'm in grad school, it'll show that I have like this drive and passion, and then maybe like that foot in the door. And then I ended up loving it. Like I started it for that reason, but I ended up loving it. Like I love my classes. I love what I'm learning. Future degrees is like maybe like a later question. Definitely the interest is there, but I'm gonna have to figure out what I want to learn, like what I want to do next. I think it only helps in higher ed, like working in higher ed, getting more education only helps.
Yes, I'll get another degree when is the question and what path that ends up being. Why I got a master's is because it was free. Like, there was a grant program that said, hey, we'll pay for any math prefix class. And so it's like, sure, I'll get a master's in math. And you go and do.
Well, now we have the PhD program, the partnership where the system pays.
Yeah.
for your
Oh, I know. Yeah, I just gotta figure out which one to do.
Also small families.
Yeah, I have a 5-year-old and a 2.5-year-old, and my 2.5-year-old had brain surgery in December. And so, yeah, so that's been the focus right now in my third child of Tarleton today. So.
Would you say, Shayla, since you graduated with your degree and then went right into the master's, it was free. Would you say that helped having some time not entering into full adult world?
Oh, so when I taught high school, so I taught mainly juniors and seniors and had like the high achiever kiddos that, you know, I knew the type because I was the type. And I told them, I was like, if you even have an inkling of getting another degree, like just keep going, stay broke, because once you start making real money, it's hard to go back to making no money. Because
Speaks the truth.
The more you make, the more you spend.
Yeah, but it's hard to go back to being, broke college kid, because you can live on a grad assistant when you've been living on like student worker pay. But like, it feels like a raise-ish. But like going and making like industry money, real adult job money, that I'd say just go through. That's my advice, because if you start and then stop, it's like one of those like jumping off the cliff into oblivion of like, oh, but I had this nice safety net and it's hard to give that up. And working and schooling, as y'all can
It's
probably
rough.
attest to, is a tad rough.
And you're not having to relearn how to be a student. If you take a break, very, very hard, like, oh, I've got to dedicate study time, I gotta dedicate writing time. You just go straight into it, you know, you're just used to that pattern.
Newton's law of motion, an object at rest tends to remain at rest.
It's hard.
A person who is not studying, it's really hard to restart.
Yeah, I have to schedule it, like schedule study times, and thankfully my in-laws help out, they take the kids so I can write papers. But yeah, for me, I didn't go straight into masters just because I was like, I don't, you know, my path had changed. I was like, I don't want to get a master's in what I was doing. You know, I kind of figure out what I wanted to do. But yeah, it's definitely much harder to go back after you have a life, jobs, kids, everything going on. So one class at a time. That's can't take 2 classes. That's not happening. So
Our topic in PHP seminar this semester is leadership. Many of these students are in that seminar on Monday evenings. So y'all have some leadership roles, leading young people, leading the Tarleton Today program, leading your group. What leadership advice do you have for college kids today? What is something that they can focus on now to help them be leaders in their future?
I would learn how to be the best listener possible. Being a good leader is listening most of the time. You have to listen, and you have to be, to me, the better you can get at remembering people's names and faces helps tremendously in the long run. That is a skill that my dad instilled in us since little bitty, is you learn people's names and remember them. Like, he has students that he taught 30 years ago that he will see out and about and he still remembers their name. And so know people's name because their name matters to them, and then listen to what people are saying. Because if you can listen, you have a better picture of what's actually going on in the situation.
Definitely echoing that, listening even like sometimes deeper, like if someone's telling you something, there might be like a deeper hidden meaning. And really listening, you kind of like help you figure that out and kind of help the person the best way. And also I would say like flexibility and openness. Something that like I've learned in working with students is that like a lot of things change really fast. So you're gonna have to be open and flexible with people you work with leadership, stuff like that. Because change can come at you fast, and it's better to work through it than try to work against it.
I would say with me, for me, it's being able to be vulnerable. People know when you're being real. Like the ones that are like, oh no, I'm perfect, I haven't made a mistake. You're not gonna trust them. You're not gonna go to them with issues because you're gonna feel like they're just gonna look down on you because they've done no wrong. I found whenever I'm teaching somebody that, you know, I'm like, hey, I've made this mistake. I've been here. I've screwed this test up. Like, you know, learn from my mistakes. You know, really help show them that it's okay to make a mistake. It's okay to mess things up. Even with investigations, I'm like, look, we're people. Things happen. Like, help me to help you learn how I can make this better so that we don't ever have to pass each other in the hallway ever again. So just being vulnerable, being open, and showing that like you care.
I have another question. I counted to 5 before I said.
It was a quick 5, let's go.
So something that is a common theme for students, especially high achieving students, especially those in STEM, is maybe a little less of development of soft skills. And so I was wondering for y'all, what is one soft skill that you were surprised that was so important to your success where you're at now? If that makes sense.
People interaction. have to be able to talk to people. And it's, sometimes you find the thing that you haven't had. Like with me, like I work with a lot of people that are older than me. Like, how's your kids? How's your grandkids? How's it, you know, what's going on? What can we help with? Like being able to, it's, you don't always have to open up, but if you get them to open up and being able to talk to people helps.
I was absolutely part of that, and also just like effective communication in general. Because no matter what you do in the future, it's gonna revolve working with people, working with like a large team or small team. Effective communication only helps the workplace, gets things moving, you achieve goals better. And it's just making you learn like by practice, in class, making friends, getting involved, stuff like that. Pushing yourself outside of your comfort zone. All great ways.
It's a soft-ish skill, being digitally organized and being able to find stuff. Like my sister and I were talking about this yesterday, actually, on the drive of how we live out of our downloads folder way too much. Like things go into downloads and then they never migrate. And so, like learning how you work best. Like I still love my sticky notes, and like all around my little keyboard is a sticky note pile, and then there's like the sticky note archive. That gets cleaned out every few months of things that happened. So finding a way to be digitally organized, because you are going to be tied to a device, and there's no ifs, ands, or buts around it. A device is going to be part of your life, and so digital organization skills.
I nicknamed sticky notes self-adhesive action reminders, because we got told we couldn't have sticky notes. I said, that's not what these
Has sticky notes. At the pharmaceutical plant, but somebody wrote something on a sticky note. It's always one person.
No,
So
Yeah. Digital organizational skills, fine. Yeah.
Well, I guess on that note, developing soft skills. What clubs and activities and organizations were y'all involved with at Tarleton that helped develop those skills y'all just talked about?
I was in Alpha Phi Omega, so co-ed service fraternity, and I'm still. If they ever do like the UMA concept at homecoming, that ugly man on campus fundraiser. That's usually
I don't
for
remember.
the
long time.
no, that was another group. But they could like give a picture of their ugly person, and you could, like penny or like silver coins were plus, and then like pennies were negatives. Whoever, it was just raising money, whoever won, like the money would go to their organization. So.
I was in Phi Eta Sigma. And so I ended up being on the national committee for Phi Eta Sigma. That's a wonderful opportunity. So it is a freshman, sophomore honors organization that is a national program. Met people from all over, got to travel to like Salt Lake City, Alabama, and Tennessee, like all part of the national committee process. It was one of the other things that got me very comfortable talking in front of people, because you met people from all over and you got to do presentations and all of that fun. And so that was one of my organizations on campus that was one of them.
For pre-health professional people, Alpha Epsilon Delta is a really great organization. AED for short. They do like they bring in.
Phi Eta Sigma still pays their dues somehow on campus here,
Yeah, it was
because it's still on the national website. So I wonder who's in charge of that.
Yeah, because
It was College of Science.
We've got Alpha Chi now for juniors and seniors.
Yeah, Phi Eta Sigma is a freshman, sophomore.
It could be you. You can have twin babies.
Yeah.
I think her plate's pretty full.
Yeah.
That's, you know.
I know. I'm saying no for her.
Oh, yeah, sometimes you gotta have something else. So,
Yeah, so,
yeah, I would say definitely like, we recruited every semester, so it's that elevator speech. It's that, can you say who you are, what you want, where you plan to go? 2 minutes. Cause getting people's attention longer than that, especially leadership, usually not a thing. They're running between meetings. They need the details right now, right there. They don't need your life story in that 5 minutes that they have.
Which is fantastic for job interviews.
Oh, yes.
You have to
it
learn how to
is.
sell yourself.
Ambassadors and Mentors also a great program. I did that for 3 years and it was amazing. Res Life RL is really fun too, if you all have the time, the commitment, it's really great.
Anna is currently a mentor. Yeah, see, thank you.
And those of you who are first years, we can get toward you next year. I'm not sure, Dr. Hoffman, she told us we could say no.
If I say no to an assignment, you can't say no to a professor. You are not get too young.
Saying no is for after graduation.
Yes, it goes back. That we're not on the vocabulary right now. Yeah, but it's that fine line on the degree, like, okay, now you're allowed.
Now you can say no. Before we wrap up for cookies, any other comments, questions?
Yes, I have. So this one is a little outside of,
Much better than.
I did, so it's a little outside, but with the prevalence of AI in literally every industry, regardless of what you're doing, I would be interested to know how you've seen the influence in your specific field and what you're doing.
I use AI at least weekly. So I am a mathematician. I am not a good fluffy email writer that these school leaders want to read. And so I love AI because you can say, here's the facts I'm trying to get across. Here's Tarleton's mission and values. And can you please write me a fluffy email? You can get a pretty good draft and you be a cognizant human being, edit it for what it actually says, and then there you have it. So to me, it's for those tasks that you might not be the best at, use it for the power of good and not evil.
There's this one student I have who writes all his emails with ChatGPT and I can tell. That's very clear. He hasn't changed anything about it.
See, that's the kicker, is you
Yeah.
have to like take what it gives you and then, cause there's always duplications in ChatGPT stuff. Like it'll say the same thing 17 times. It's like, we might need to just say thank you once instead of 17 times. So, yeah, you can definitely tell, but it takes some.
And every email's identical, except for the ones he sends from, it's like, thank you, sent from my iPhone. Those are the ones. As far as like in my work, I haven't personally found like a good use for it, like in advising. But I know my coworker, we have career services like in our school, like for our college, like our students specifically. And one of the career coaches uses it kind of like to generate like job descriptions or like find stuff like registering students.
We are not allowed to use AI. Pharmaceutical plant, we have recipes, we have things that are registered products that we cannot have that information out. So we are not allowed to use it. But the funny thing is, people will be like, hey, I need to say something that's like this, and they come to me and they're like, how do I say that? I become the AI.
You are the
critic.
AI.
I am the AI.
Just the intelligence. More intelligence, less artificial.
I add the fluff.
I'm not a good fluffer, so. It's fine.
Directed to the point.
I have an interesting non-relationship with AI, so I want to use AI, but I'm in graduate school and I don't want to be tempted to use it while I'm actively writing my dissertation, so like, I'm like getting through that. And then I want to figure out how to use it like in the workplace and, you know, to make things better, but like, I don't want to be like tempted, so I actually haven't been down that path. But I'm going there, eventually, it's coming, so I think we need to know how to use it, but I just don't want to be tempted
I would say it's not coming, it's here.
It's here,
Yeah.
yes, but I think we're gonna be entering a world where you're gonna see it very common.
It'll be like how 30 years ago, starting school,
Yeah.
none of us had a laptop in front of us. We had this thing called pencil and paper.
Yeah.
So I need
So
the
30 years ago,
opposite. I need the opposite of AI and fluff. I'm too fluffy of a writer. I need someone to take my 40 pages and turn it into 2 pages. And so.
I also
Just one line.
I need someone to turn that too.
Yeah, consistently, Dr. Fogberry, this is too.
Yeah, I think there actually is an AI that does that
That'll make it
though.
concise?
Yes.
Okay, I'll have to find it.
Yeah, Microsoft is rolling out a new one, so they have like 2 different versions of AI. They have their like programming version that runs like in the background that'll help with scripting. And then there's also a like people facing one. And so I read about that one, that there's a one that can help like they say it helps, and it's machine learning right now is what it's doing, is trying to figure out like how to maximize like what comes into your email and what your priority task should be and things like that. And so it's interesting to me to read its little reports and say what it thinks it's important.
I need a defluffer.
Yeah.
Did we have any questions online?
Well, I think we can convene to the lobby. for a
Yeah, thank y'all
little
very much for
less
being
formal.
here.
Yeah.
And I will check, but I'm pretty sure